So was Adam the first human being on earth?
Well, the easy answer would be yes, but it's not so simple like that.
Why so?
Well, if you look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 26,
Okay.
the Bible said that let us make man in our own image.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes,
So,
sir.
but then when you see that they made Adam, it wasn't telling you whether God was making man in his own image. It was just Adam. You understand? So there could have been a man. And you get, if Adam was, let's assume that Adam was the man God was talking about. You understand? Then
Yeah.
there could have also been a man that is not the image of God.
That's good.
You understand? So so what God was saying was that let's make a man in our own image. But then that is not saying that there is no man that is not the image of God. And so it's just for you to conclude whether it is that place he was talking about, Adam or not. You understand? But then if you go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 4 to 5 and 6, you will see that God explicitly said that the Bible explicitly said that there was no man on earth.
Okay.
And so because there was no rain, there was no this, when the earth was still fire and all of this, it was still hot and all of that. You get me? So plants could not grow there, right? And so the first thing God did was to make a man to till the ground, and after which there will be plant to now exist on earth, and then before animals and things like that. You understand that?
Yeah.
So before Adam, from Genesis chapter 2, verse 4, we can't say there was a man on earth. Adam will be the first man. You get, but then some people can also say that Adam is not the first man.
Yeah.
As if they are looking at Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. You get me?
Yes,
Right? But then the Bible, we need to know that the Bible also explicitly said that there was no man to till the ground, and so plants could not exist. You understand? So if there was a man, then they would have been tilling the ground, and then plants would have been able to exist. But there was no man on earth. Not whether it's the image of God or no image of God. We are not even talking about that. We are just saying there was no man in any form on earth. And so that was why I planned. So yes, we can say that Adam, that's the accurate answer. Adam is the first man, but then like I said, it's not so simple, so you need to break it down well.
All right, that's good. Having said that, Adam is the first man on earth, there's this question that people do ask. All right.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're ready for this, though, but it's actually a popular question that people do throw to people. You understand?
Okay.
So it says, why do people say Adam is not the first human? Because I'm very sure you've been hearing this lately all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. So why do you think so? Yeah.
Well, like I said, people think Adam is not the first human being on earth.
Okay.
Because from inference, when you look at the text linguistically, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26,
Okay.
if you look at it linguistically, if I say that, let me bring a black ball here, I'm not saying that there could not have been a white ball, or you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so there could have been. So linguistically, it gives openness.
Okay.
It gives openness. So people now draw an assumption because they look at the life of Cain, the things Cain said, and then the fact that Cain was going to marry somewhere. You understand? So they look at all that and draw inferences that there would have been a man.
Okay.
You get? So, but then Genesis chapter 26, people need to understand something. I need you to also understand something.
Okay.
Genesis chapter 1 is not the first book of the Bible.
Wow.
Yes, it's not actually the first book of the Bible. Genesis chapter 1 is the first book that the translators and canonizers want us to think that's the first book. The oldest book in the Bible is not Genesis chapter 1. You get? So Genesis chapter 1 is a salvation plan. It's like a cosmic plan of the whole earth. And so whether you would exist or I will exist, it was in Genesis chapter 1, it was declared. But Genesis chapter 2 is an historical record of what happened on earth. You get, that's not talking about you and me. That was talking about how the earth came to be. It was Adam, it was specific, who was made in Genesis chapter 2. You understand?
Yeah.
And so when we now interpret Genesis chapter 1 as Adam, we are just making a slight mistake there. Because there are other people.
Okay.
And that means there's me, there's you, there's Christ, even Christ in Genesis chapter 1. You understand? So the whole context, all of us are going to be made in the image of God. So Christ, it was made in the image of God, which is also a man. There's you, there's me, there's so many other people. That's the whole context. You understand? So, but then in chapter 2, we see that we are not talking about all of this. We are talking about specificity. We are talking about Adam. You get? So the mistake there is always because we assume that Genesis chapter 2, chapter 1 is talking about Adam. It's not talking about Adam. It's a cosmic plan of the whole earth. You know, like I said before, Adam existed before plants.
That's good.
You understand? Adam existed before plants. God made Adam because why? The ground was unbearable for plants. You understand? When God created the earth was still fire and brine on all of these things. You get lava or whichever one you might call it in science. Yeah, that was how the earth was. And so it was impossible for plant to exist, and even rain did not even fall. And so what God did was make man from that fire of the ground. You go understand, and then from there, man now tilled the ground for plant to be able to exist. You get, but then that's not what you see in Genesis chapter 1, because Genesis chapter 1 is talking about a cosmic plan, which is so even if that man that God made in Genesis chapter 2, which is the first man, was to exist, you get, it would take time for him to grow into the image of God. Because for an instance now, the word image of God is representative of God. You don't need to represent God if there's no any other person.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when God created Adam, yeah, so the image of God, it was not necessary, because if he's the only person, right?
Yeah.
So things like love, righteousness, all of these things, they would make no sense if you are the only person.
Okay.
And so they will only make sense when there's another person.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's why we not say, have you done the right thing to this person? You get? So until Eve was made, the concept of image of God, all of these things, it was highly unnecessary for Adam.
That's good.
You guys, but then when we see in Genesis chapter 1, which is the cosmic plan, so that's like a salvation plan. That is something coming after Genesis chapter 2. So the first book of the Bible should be Genesis chapter 1.
Okay.
You understand? Because Genesis chapter 2, rather. Yes, it should be that's the first book. Okay. Because that is the book that talks about what happened in the beginning. And then this other one was a book, a revelation of what, like a cosmic plan, which is the plan of salvation. And this is happening because the first man had fallen. So God would not say, let us now create man in the image of God. Because the man that existed has become another image. And as Adam gave birth to people in his own image, because he has become another image contrary to God. And so God will not create another man in the image of God. Yeah. So people are saying that they don't really understand what the Bible is talking about. They are just looking at it. That's why I say it's simple and it's not simple. You understand? So Adam is the first man, but people say that there was another man because they see Genesis chapter 1 and it's not closing. It's not telling you that Adam is the first man. No. So it's telling you that there are other men. Yes, there are other men, but that man is Adam. Is the first man. And so the one that came in the image of God is Christ. And so when God was talking, he was talking about Christ. Let us make man in our own image, because the man there, which is Adam, had become something else. You get? Okay.
So you're literally saying Adam is not the first man in Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, right?
Well, yes, Adam is not the man in Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, because he can only become that man only after Eve was created. Yes, if you are the only person on earth, let me ask you a question. If you are the only person on earth, why would he care whether you love or you don't love? You have love or you don't love love?
That's true.
It would not matter, because why? I'm the only. Why do I need to love? Nobody. So whether there's love or there's no love, it matters not.
That's good.
You get, but then when there are now two, you get, so so you talk about the concept of love, how you treat the other person. Right? So until Eve was created, which is something that happened after animals and all of these things. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
And so it didn't make sense for Adam to be image of God or not. It didn't make sense for Adam to have love or not. It didn't make sense for Adam to have righteousness or not. These are concepts that existed because of another person came into being. And you understand? So yes, the whole plan we see in Genesis chapter 1 is not specific about Adam. It's specific about Christ, which is also Adam, like the whole plan of God. And this whole plan is, we see it in salvation. We don't see it in Adam. You get? So that's what that place is talking about. Right.
Okay, so that's good. So who best fits that description that you're saying right now?
Well, Jesus best fits that description. Because why, you see, when you are saved, you are now walking in the blessing of God, and that's the blessing that God gave in the beginning.
That's good.
Because there was no new blessing. In fact, when God was talking to the Israelites, he said, if you walk in my commandment, then you walk in my, if you obey my word, then you walk in my blessing. You get? So if you don't obey my word, you walk in curse. So Adam disobeyed and he walked in curse. Do you understand? So Jesus Christ is the one that obeyed till the end. And so he's going to walk in blessing continually. And that's why you see that he will be the one that takes dominion of the whole everything forever. It's not, the blessing of God is not something that you need to have today and lose it tomorrow.
Of course.
Just like people say that you can't lose salvation.
Of course.
You can't even lose the blessing of God.
That's fact.
If you are blessed, you are blessed.
Yes,
you can't
sir.
be unblessed.
Yes, sir.
You get, so if Adam was the one that was blessed, he cannot go into curse. You understand?
Wow.
So he can't go into curse after he has been blessed. You understand? So, but Christ is the one that was blessed,
That's
and that's
good.
the one that cannot go into cursing,
Curse
and
again.
because he has been blessed.
That's
So
good.
that's how it is. So that's what we see in Genesis chapter 1 is we are seeing is Christ best fits that because he's the one that was blessed.
Oh, wow.
You get, so we too, we come in, when we come into Christ, we come into that blessing of God, because it's at all we are working a course. Yes, we're working a course. It's a salvation that we now start to walk in the blessing of God.
Oh, wow.
And so there's no, we too, we didn't fit that thing. We only fit that thing after Christ gave us the blessing.
That's good.
You get, so the blessing is